Welcome back, guys. Today I'm joined with none other than Bad Boy Beaman himself. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, mate. I'm very good. Yes.
Yeah, we just had Misfits 11
Yeah, it was very
coming, but
entertaining, mate. Very entertaining. Some great knockouts, some great stoppages, and some controversial decisions as well.
yeah. I was at the event, bro, and you know, York Hall, it's talked about as like the home of British boxing, and it was my first boxing show. And I loved it, man. Like the small arena, like it's the vibes are there, man. The vibes are there. It's like the atmosphere is there. I loved every part of it, man. Like everyone was there. It was so good meeting everyone. Um, man, what a show.
It's a different kind of energy when you're in them small hall shows like your call compared to like a big arena because you can just feel the energy from the crowd. And I'm sure the fighters as well fighting on a night where basically you can just hear and feel everybody around you. I mean, the energy must be absolutely ecstatic for them. But you could see that in some of the fights. People were pushing for the knockout quite early on, and they set the show up well on them prelim fights. And yeah, honestly, it was an extremely entertaining show, and I honestly think it was up there, man, with one of the greatest Misfits fights so far, one of the greatest Misfits shows so far,
Oh
honestly.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think when it comes to the non-pay-per-view event, I look at 003. For me, that's my favorite. Okay, we had Dean versus Waleed. We had Chase Demore, Josh Bruckner. We had many great fights on that night. Now, the thing for me with 003 was the surprise factor that we had of that event. We had Dean coming back from the 2-3 knockdowns. We had Hasim Rahman Jr. losing that fight. I think this event was one of those, but at a much smaller scale. Um, Talking about the prelims, we had the first fight of the night, which was Mohsin Kaysen, who came up against bro, I'm not gonna say his name. I can't pronounce his name. I think Peter. Let's call him Peter for the sake of it. What did you make of that fight?
Honestly, mate, like I say, the prelims for me were like they really got the bloods flowing. It was an exciting fight. But honestly, and I'll hold my hands up when I say this. I watched that and thought, who are these guys? But
Yeah.
listen, the fight was entertaining still, and that's what really truly matters on the night.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Um, you know, Moving on, we had Simple Simon, and I was sat just by the ramp as he was coming out on um, the electric
The
wheelchair,
mobility scooter, yeah.
mobility scooter. I thought
Do you
that
know
was
what's
hilarious.
crazy is right? My idea, if when I get my opportunity on Misfits, was going to be to get like a Zimmer frame and like have like a pipe and small glasses and do the old man thing. But I can't do that now because Simple Simon's already done it. But he done it in style, mate. Coming out on the mobility scooter was fantastic.
Yeah, and of course we had his opponent Dapper Laughs. He said some stuff about KSI. He mocks KSI, but listen, there's more important things to that. He came and he fought for his charity, Men's and Their Emotion, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And it was a good knockout, man. I think for Simon, I think I don't know what's next, bro. Honestly, I don't know what's next. There's
It's a tough one for Simple Simon. I mean, listen, Dapper Lass showed the utmost respect straight after going over, giving him a hug, making sure he was okay. But Simple Simon now was who was it he forfeit? The first fight he had was Ed Matthews, am I right?
Ed
Right.
Matthews, yeah.
And pretty much went the same way. So maybe he needs to step away from the box. And I understand he's got a family and he wants to, support them financially and whatnot. But like, there's so much more he can do. His content's entertaining over on TikTok. Fantastic. I've seen him. I knew who he was before this Misfit show. And
Yeah.
but I mean, unless he can go back to the drawing board with a different coach and learn to defend himself properly and actually learn the skills of boxing, I feel like maybe he should step away from the sport. But still, hats off to him for getting in and trying his damn best.
Yeah, I will say with Simon, compared to his last fight with Ed Matthews, he actually came up, right? Like, the first knockdown, he came back, right? He didn't quit. And honestly, much respect to him. I think he's 51, 52.
Possibly
And
53, I can't remember, but I'm sure I
yeah,
saw
yeah.
on one of his videos that he was
Yeah,
53.
man.
Yeah.
He didn't give up. So he's got a lot of heart. So I will
What I
give him
will
that.
say though, like when he first stood up off the first knockdown, I feel like the referee should have stopped it there. He was almost leaning and falling forward. His
Yeah,
hands weren't up.
yeah,
The ref forced his hands up and let it
yeah.
continue. And it was only a short while after that that he got knocked down again. So, I mean, that can happen in boxing. But yeah, Simple Simon, he got back up, he showed heart and he kept going. And again, Dapper Laughs finished him off.
What did you make of the Adam Brooks fight?
Oh, one of my favorites, honestly. I mean, didn't he won knockout of the night as well, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah, he won
Yeah,
knockout
and
tonight.
well deserved, by the way. I'm a big fan of Adams. I think that his first fight was wild. His opponent was wild,
Yeah,
and and he won by knockout by stoppage. And he was a bit crazy after it, like wah, shouting at him and stuff.
yeah,
But emotions must have been very high after this guy's basically said like, "I'm going to bite your face off" or something like that. So,
yeah.
but this one, honestly, it was a well timed uppercut. Like Rhino's falling forward, tried to like
Yeah,
I don't know what he was doing, and Adam just slipped in with the uppercut, and it
yeah.
was like it was almost like a check uppercut, and he got like slipped out the
It's
side. It was brilliant, mate. Honestly, well timed, perfectly
just
placed.
I don't want to bet against Adam Brooks again. I mean, his first fight, he came up against a bare knuckle boxer. I'm gonna be honest, I have a lot of love for Adam, but I didn't favor him in that fight. And then again with this fight, I saw a lot of clips from Rhino in his last I think he one of his last fights where he was literally taking body shots from his opponent. And I was like, there's no way Adam Brooks can pull this off. And he done it. When he was calling out, we've seen Adam call out OJ Rose, right? I was
Yeah.
like, there's no way this fight should happen. But honestly, I'm all for it. I'm all for Adam Brooks versus OJ Rose. That's not
Can I just stop
something
you there? It's OJ Rose, by the way, like the
OJ
wine,
Rose, there we
not the
go.
flower. Yeah.
100%. But
Well, that
yeah,
would be a
man,
good
what?
fight, definitely. I mean, listen, speaking of OJ Rose, like his fight was phenomenal from both sides, by the way. But I do feel like Silva could have done a little bit more.
Yeah,
Um, based on the fact that his dad's like one of the greatest ever and whatnot. But like, I felt like OJ Rose done enough on the night, but it could have
yeah,
went either way.
yeah,
So if he is watching this, then I suggest keep your chin up, man. Go back to the drawing board, get back in the gym, and just keep training. Like everything he's done so far, like he's not a boxer. Yeah, he's never boxed as an amateur, never boxed as a child. This is all new to him. But
yeah,
his ability, it's like natural talent is showing through. One thing I would say to OJ Rose is instead of picking individual shots, piece together some combinations because even in what looks like a combination, they just look like individual shots being thrown like this. Like he's
yeah,
leaving his hand out with every shot. Like that's going to be the one that finishes. But I mean, listen, fantastic performance from both of them. And yeah, I do think that OJ Rose versus Adam Brooks would be a killer fight. Definitely.
yeah, yeah. I mean, look, Adam Brooks, 43 years of age, but man, he's a warrior. He is
Yeah.
a fucking warrior, man. And m moving on, we had the first fight that opened up the card. We had Yachty Gang versus Uncle Pizza rematch. Of course, the first fight, which was on Misfits 006, Uncle Pizza won. Um, Now the rematch, however, we saw Yachty Gang come out of the win. What did you make of that performance?
Honestly, like I'm just going to be brutally honest with my opinions on these fights, but I felt like that fight was extremely boring, man. Like
Yeah,
first and foremost, in the build up to the show, I didn't see any promotion from either of them that I could, and I'm keeping my eyes on Twitter. I'm keeping an eye out for all the promotion to see what effort people are putting in. Obviously for research for myself to see what kind of level of promotion I've got to do in the future. But um, like Uncle Peter almost felt like he was winning the fight, I think, at the end, and it went the other way. And obviously, he felt like he was winning because he won the first one. But
yeah.
honestly, I don't think either of them put much of an effort in
I,
to say, yeah, this was definitely my fight.
Honestly, I had it 3 rounds to one for Yachty. Um, I rate Yachty. very highly. Now, I remember I put out a tweet um shortly after Misfits '08, right? It was the tag team, Dean and Waleed versus Yachty and APAP. Now, I
Yeah,
put out a tweet saying that Yachty he's up there with Dean and Waleed. I'm sorry to say, but he's up there, man. Like, I think when it comes to Dean, outside of the whole Brazil card where we could possibly see Jose Aldo versus Dean the Great, I think you put him up against Yachty Gang. I think he's a very high level boxer. Now, promo wise, maybe it's just a Twitter bias because I'm always on Twitter, right?
yeah.
But I just don't see him promote as enough as he should be doing, right?
Yeah, I feel like that's the case with a lot of people, but again, it could just be a Twitter bias thing. So, what I would suggest for any fighter who is promoting for the fight on other platforms, just post, put your videos as reels on
Yeah,
Instagram and Facebook, and then post them over on Twitter as well, like TikTok as well. Just cross post if you've got a fight coming up, you want to promote that to every bit of audience that you've got. And of course, this will stop people saying that you don't promote, like I've just said.
yeah. You you can't do a Ryan Johnston, right?
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, there was
It
some
would.
great fights, man. I feel like the main event. Oh, I know we don't want to get into that yet, but I'm really excited to talk about that. But what do you think about Julie? What's her surname? Poker, is it? What's her surname? The
Julie Poker
co-main.
and Alina
Yeah.
Vampira, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
that
what
Alina
a fight.
Vampira, I just want to say, can take a punch. Oh
Yeah,
my God, she
yeah,
can take a punch.
yeah,
She got clocked with a right hook, I think it was. Yeah, a right hook, flush on the chin, and just kept coming forward. I was like, why is she not on the canvas? Oh my
yeah,
God, like crazy. But again, I mean, I do think there's a lot of potential there for her moving forward. I think she's got a lot to show us still. But I've seen a lot of people complaining as well on social media about the size of her following. But listen, she's turning up. She's entertaining.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
actually promoting for their fights. So,
Oh yeah, for sure.
you got to
I've
give it to her.
seen,
She put the effort in.
I've seen, yeah, that's the exact same thing. I mean, OJ Rose gets a lot of stick for that as well, right? He promotes very well. Now, does he have a large following on Twitter? Absolutely not, but he's putting in the effort to promote his fights. That's the same with Alina, right? Like leading up to fight week, I actually messaged her and I said, hey, like, I'm looking forward to this event. You've promoted very well, and yeah, man, I think she has a big future in the scene. Personally, I'd love to see a rematch in Brazil, right? We got the Brazil Misfits card coming up in February. Well, it's rumored for February. You never know, man. You never know.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd love to see the rematch, man. I think before we see Julie Parker versus Barbie, I'd love to see that Alina Vampira versus Julie rematch in Brazil. What do you make of that?
I think a rematch is deserved, whether it comes before or after another fight. I'm unclear on that, but again, that's down to Mams Taylor, isn't it, to decide whether or not to make that fight happen. I think a rematch would be very entertaining.
Yeah,
But I mean, listen, like either way, they both done themselves proud in that fight. So even if they have to go on like different paths for a while and then come back for a rematch in the future, it's a rematch that people will want to see. And they could build that up very well as if it was like 3 or 4 fights down the line. They could build it up throughout all of the promotion for the fights that they've got until the rematch, and then it could end up being a main event rather than a co-main.
yeah, yeah, of course. This fight, Minicon versus Arms.
So I'll get my opinion on this. First and foremost, right? I hope Arms is okay, and I hope he's
Yeah,
better. I want to say that. Um, I've stated when we done our last interview, I stated that Arms is carrying too much muscle mass and he would gas easily, right? Didn't I?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
We anyone who's watching, go back, fact check it. It's linked in the description below. But yeah, Arms far too much muscle mass with
yeah,
a low body fat count, and it showed exactly what can happen to somebody when they're doing cardiovascular exercise, which is what boxing is, right? Your heart rate's up, it's high energy, you've got to move quick, and he gassed to the point where
yeah.
he literally almost collapsed and had to go out on a stretcher. So this is dangerous.
Oh,
He did
I
go on.
was there at ringside, man, and they had quite a few people worried, my initial thoughts was I've never been to a boxing event and seen a fighter collapse. So for me, it was quite scary. And, I didn't know what was going to happen, right? And then they brought him like some oxygen, um, like thing for oxygen, right?
Yeah,
Um, but it was scary, man, because at the time you're thinking like, what's happened? Like what's happened? But thankfully, he's okay now. Talking about arms, just 20 minutes ago, we've had the PBA tweet out saying that his license has been suspended until further notice.
brilliant. And I wonder what that's for, just because of the collapse, or do you think it's down to maybe some sort of test coming back positive?
Yeah,
Listen, I'll
possibly,
be
man.
honest, like I'm telling you now, right? I've said it already. I feel like you can't get that physique naturally. And if he has done
Yeah,
something in the past to get to there, that could also have affected him and caused the collapse. You've got to be safe, you've got to be
yeah,
clever, you've got to train and make sure you do it naturally. But let's not take away from the fact that Minicon put on one hell of a fight for Arms as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
I don't feel like a decision in Arms' favour was the right call personally. Yes,
yeah.
Minicon hit the canvas early on. Um,
I'm
but
the same, bro.
he gassed so quick after that, and it was so sluggish. It was not a very clean fight to watch. It wasn't a good
Yeah,
fight to
yeah,
be able to sort of count the points. But I feel like Minicon pushed through towards the last couple of rounds, and
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like the decision went the wrong way. I feel like Arms
yeah,
shouldn't have won that, especially with the state of him. His coach, his corner man, was literally holding him up while the
yeah,
ref was making like raising the arm. Um, and at that point, you got to realize like that guy needed to be sat down having medical assistance already rather than having
yeah,
his arm raised. I feel like there was a point in the last round where Arms was completely out of it,
yeah,
and the referee should have called the fight. The referee should have
yeah,
said, no, he's done. Minicon's the winner. That's what should have happened. But it never, and it went the way it did. And as we said, we hope he's okay. The PBA doing that, putting him on a suspension is great. Because that means that he's got to go back to the drawing board and realise that maybe all that muscle isn't the way forward if he wants to continue boxing. I think Minicon needs to go back to the drawing board a little bit as well and work on his range, picking shots better at range, because there was a couple of moments where he had Arms tired, and instead of keeping his
yeah,
range and picking his shots and putting everything into them, he was smothering him, which was taking his
yeah.
own power away. But
I mean,
yeah,
I've been telling people, like, as you know, I'm on Twitter Spaces 24/7. I've been
yeah,
telling people, sorry, Minicon is not a master Uguay. He's not a smaller guy. He's a big guy, right? He's a big, tall guy. So I think with the knockdown, I think it didn't hurt Minicon as much as it did Uguay, purely because of the size difference, right?
yeah.
Now, I mean, to come back, sorry, from the knockdown in the first round, and for me, I'm with you in that one, Bad Boy. I think he done just about enough to win. The PBA, you clowns, again, you don't know how to fucking judge a fight, bro. You don't know how to judge a fight. Um, they gave it to Arms. But it's interesting because this was the heavyweight title eliminator fight, right, for Tempo Arts. So
That's very
now,
interesting because you got to think about now that Arms has been suspended.
yeah,
Does Minicon get the bye? Does he get to go through, or do they then put these two aside because Minicon lost and Arms is suspended and give Chase the Moore the rematch?
I think, in my opinion, I think we should get Minicon versus Chase, and that determines who fights Tempo Arts.
Yeah, I mean that's all good and well, but I think Tempo will want to be active. He's going to want to
Yeah,
be out there fighting and defending the title. So having that happen, it would have to be soon, so that
yeah,
obviously um, Tempo Arts can get out and stay active, because it wouldn't be fair to Tempo to have to
yeah,
defend his title in, I don't know, 6 months' time, when the
yeah,
guys who he's defending it against have been actively fighting and having one or two fights. But again, it does make sense to have Minicom versus Chase. I think that would be a great fight. And I honestly
yeah,
think that Chase might come out on top of that one. But
yeah.
it's all up in the air at the moment, especially with arms being suspended. So we'll have to wait and find out what happens with that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can see a scenario where one of them is upset, because if Chase the Moore is is picked to fight Tempo Arts for the title, I can see why many Con would be upset, and same vice versa, right? Now, moving on to the main event, and B-Dave, bro, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry, bro. I am so sorry, man. You fought your heart out like a warrior. I'm so fucking proud of you.
Yeah,
But
I mean, he had his moments, man. He had some really good moments throughout that fight. He's coming back better and better every single fight, even after coming from a tag team match to go
yeah,
against Jarvis, who's technically sound. It was a great effort that B Dave put in, but Jarvis got the knockdown, didn't he? Which obviously went in his favor a little bit better. But beat Dave, man, built like he's a different build, isn't he? He's
yeah,
got that dog in him, man. He keeps coming forward, he keeps throwing. What a fight that was.
yeah. I'll be honest with you, leading up to the fight, one thing that concerned me was how is B-Dave going to do when it's just him versus another fighter? Now, the last time he fought one-on-one was, of course, Misfits '04 against Pineda. So it's been, there's been a few fights. Like he's had three fights where it's been him and Pineda versus another tag team, or it's been him and the Survivor tag versus three other people. So I was always like worried, like you know, is there going to be something different? But then, he proved a lot of people wrong, man. A lot of people see him as a journeyman. A lot of people disrespect him, but honestly, I think if he learns to protect himself better, this sorry, defensively, I think we could definitely see a dangerous B Dave, man. But what
I
a
think he's already
performance.
dangerous. I think what a lot of people don't understand is somebody who comes forward the way B Dave does. Every shot he throws is dangerous. There was a moment in that fight, I think I can't remember what round it was in. It might have been the fourth, and B Dave clocked with a big right
Yeah,
hook, clocked Jarvis, and Jarvis was stunned on his feet for a moment. And
yeah,
it was just a bit of a shame that B Dave couldn't follow up with a couple more shots, but Jarvis recovered really well from it. But just that moment there shows that, like, when somebody like B Dave is pushing forward at you, and he's got the technique, he's got a bit of power in his punches, right? And he's caught Jarvis. That could have changed the fight completely. It's just a shame there was no follow up from B Dave. But hey, he's good. He's getting better at every fight, like I've said, and I think that there's definitely a big future for him with Misfits, and I think that we're going to see him improve every fight.
yeah. I think would it be fair to say that B Dave had Jarvis hurt more than Gibb did? Would that be a fair argument?
I'd say so. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I do believe that B Dave rocked the shit out of the Jarvis a couple of
Yeah.
times, and also fuck Jarvis because he's a dirty little cheater. But yeah, I mean, listen, I was rooting for B Dave from the beginning. I feel like he's actually just give Jarvis the hardest fight of his life. But Jarvis come out on top, so it shows that he's got that grit and determination to push through those hard moments. But B Dave was, in my eyes, the better fighter on the night, most entertaining. The build up to it again, listen, getting the tweet out during the fight, fantastic promotion all around from B Dave, and
Yeah.
I will always be a supporter of his. Unless he comes up to heavyweight and wants to fight me, then that's a different story. But for now, I've got a lot of respect for him.
Who would you say needs to who what fight would you say B-Dame needs to take next?
I
You know,
It's not about what he needs to take, right? B Dave will, like Mams Taylor's already said, he'll take anybody offered to him. I
yeah.
think someone nice needs to be offered to him now. Yeah, get B Dave a nice fight. Let him showcase his natural ability, showcase where he's at. Let him build his name back up, build his confidence back up, and then get him a couple of tough fights. You know what I mean?
I'd
We're
quite like
talking
to
like
see I'd quite like to see B-Dave versus Alex Wasabi. I think that would be a great fight.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, that the build up to that would be great. The promotion for that would
Yeah,
be great. I think the fight itself would be highly intense, and I do think that would be a great fight. It makes sense as well after obviously what we've seen in the past. There's a bit of heat between them, so definitely a fight I'd like to see. But again, is that a tough fight for BDave? You've got to ask yourself this: is BDave going to school him? Are we going to get to see BDave confident and showing his natural ability, or is it going to be a rough sort of tough scrap of a fight rather than just because you got to understand, like, you fighters want to protect the records, right? Obviously, this is influencer boxing, so maybe they're not too bothered about the records as such. But BDave, man, get him a couple of wins, then put him in against Wasabi, then put him in for the rematch against Jarvis. Then maybe even after the rematch against Jarvis, get him Anderson Gibb and see where that goes. There's
yeah,
there's so many options for BDave. He's in that sweet pocket of a weight category where there's a lot of options for him.
yeah,
But hey, listen, I think Alex Wasabi will be a fantastic fight for him.
yeah. Alex Wasabi. Yeah, man, I agree with you. I think either Alex Wasabi or just give him like an easy fight, man, because he's pretty much been the guinea pig of Misfits, right? They wanted the mystery opponent thing, BDave. They wanted the tag team fights, BDave, right? The Survivor tag, BDave. So it'll be nice for him to get an an easy
Don't get
fight,
me
if that
wrong,
makes
though, man.
sense.
Hey, I think because he's been the guinea pig, that he's been,
Yeah,
getting paid a lot of money for that guinea pig style. But listen, hey, whatever it is, I think that there's got to be a moment in time where Misfits turn around and think, right, this guy's done us really well. He said yes to everything we've thrown at him. Let's give him some back. Let's give him a couple of
yeah,
fights. Get this man's name to the top of that list. And I'm not talking about like easy walk in the park fights, because B Dave doesn't need that. What he needs is somebody who's sort of just below him or on his level, and I think the confidence will shine through.
yeah, yeah. I agree, man. Bad boy, before we end off, um, I saw Gary Olive, Tempo Artist coach, at the event. Um, hey, he said you better be ready.
Listen, so I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but I've just signed with Spar Management, which is run by Lee Eaton, which is big news, massive news.
Big
Lee
news.
Eaton is also Pineda's manager, and there's a couple of others that he's going to be managing, which I'm not going to announce yet. Um, but when I went and met him, he done a little video, right? And the video was him sending it to Gary Olive, which is Temple Arts coach, and he was like, "Yo, Gary, I've got someone here who says he's going to knock you out or do you in." He's going, reveal yourself. So I've come in behind, started shadow boxing, going, I'm the champ, you're the chump. But Gary Olive was at the Misfits event at the time. So he's sent a video back basically saying, when Bad Boy gets fit, I'll get him in this ring and school him. Like, listen, Gary, if you're watching, I would school you in my current state.
Yeah,
You wouldn't
school him,
make it
bro.
out of round one. And then I'm going to take that belt off your fighter, Tempo
Let's
Arts.
go. Let's go. I mean, hey, I'm all for this fight. I'm all for this fight, man. Gary Olive, he looks fit, man. He looks fit. I saw him at the event. He looks in much better shape. Um, we need to get this fight on. Everyone
Yeah,
watching,
100%.
please tweet Misfits, tweet Mams. Let them know, guys. Let them know. Um,
Let them know Bad Boy's coming for Gary Olive and everyone else.
100%, my guy. Well, guys, there you have it. Okay, this is the first episode. We're gonna be back for more. It's gonna be a weekly thing. Every Saturday we will have episodes out. It's been a pleasure, my guy.
Yeah, also, guys, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the future episodes. And we will be working on a name for this podcast.
Yeah, maybe KSI. KSI is cool. 100%.
We're working on the name. We'll get to
We're
that. We'll
working on
get
a
to
name. We'll get there.
that.
All right. Take care, everyone. Leave a like and bye.